Hey, good day, folks. Welcome back to the Profitable Sheep and Goat Production Podcast. Today it's myself, Leon Gaiman with Lost Creek Wholesale and LC Ranch Katahdins, and Matt Nault from Glenbrook Farms. We thought today we'd give a bit of an update on what's happening on our farms. Matt, what's going on at Glenbrook these days?
Well, we just got done here with our, I guess I should call it our spring lambing, our late spring lambing here, for our ewes that would have lambed last fall. So that made for a bit of a busy last 2 weeks here, but we're down to maybe a handful of ewes. So it's nice to see that behind us. This is usually not my favorite lambing just because it's such a busy time of the year, but it's warm weather. It's usually pretty easy to lamb ewes this time of year. They kind of do their own thing, and all we got to do is tag lambs and catch up. So for the most part, so yeah, that's good to have that behind us. And we're done with spring breeding. We seeded all our ewes and bred them in like a couple of days time, beginning of May there. So I think we seeded, oh, I forget, 100 or 120 ewes, something like that. So be a busy week sometime this fall. If hopefully a lot of those got bred. So um
Yeah,
it's kinda what's going on here, along with all the other farm work, trying to make some hay in between the rain showers. We did get all our hay made, and it's regrowing really fast. The meadows are pasture ground is regrowing fast. We can't seem to catch up. This time of year, it always everything takes off, and then with this cool, wet, rainy weather we've been having, it just keeps going. So, but that's good. Lots of grass.
yeah. The we didn't do any hay yet here. I know there's some farmers that took off first cutting that chopped it or did wet baleage, but I'm kind of at the mercy of the guy I work with that does my hay, and he's a dairy farmer, and he takes his first cutting off first, and when he gets to mine, he gets to mine. So it'll be good and ready till he gets to it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, grass growing like crazy. Wow. I have a section of pasture we didn't even touch yet. We have this field day coming up in 2 weeks on the 7th there, and I don't know. Should my pastures be all hunky dory, nice and wow? I would really, my goal would be to have, a good stretch of pasture all side by side, several sections that people could see. This is where they were, last week. This is where they were the week before or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have a couple areas I was trying to get covered and trying to move them fast enough. And the stuff that they were on 3, 4 weeks ago, boy's just coming back. Like
Yeah.
I might clip a section of pasture just to stay ahead of it so it doesn't get too mature. That way I can,
Yeah.
once I get through this first section, I have some stuff that's pretty nice yet to go back on. It just seems like if you let it mature out too far, I just feel like it slows down.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found it best with when you get behind in the springtime like this, run them through, don't make them graze it down real hard. Clip it high, clip the seeds heads off and let your grass regrow. If you try to make them clean everything up this time of year, you just fall further behind, and it sets your grass back. So we have lots
Yeah.
of grass. Let's, I don't know, waste some if you want to call it waste some, but let's run through it and keep it growing, and we'll make them clean up more later in the summer. Is kind of what I try to do here. So
Yeah.
you'll get to show them the real life grazing scenarios. It's not grazing's awesome and fun, but it's, sometimes you have way too much, and the next time you don't have enough.
Right.
uh,
Right.
yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
So we bred some ewes, or we tried to. Hopefully, we got a few ewes bred for fall, and we decided this year not to do cedars. And it wasn't so much because I know Matt, you were wondering whether our conversation there with the Schultz has influenced me so much that I decided to try. Well, it was a combination of it was more like I didn't get the PG 600 and the cedars ordered, and after a while, it's like if I'm going to do this, we just need to get this done. So
Yeah,
we turned the ram out there the first week of May sometime. I'm gonna pull him here the end of the month. And we had a marking harness on. We did one crayon. I never changed it. I saw a few get marked. Well, the crayon's pretty worn down.
yeah.
I guess we'll wait and see what happens. Hopefully we have a few fall lambs at least.
Ooh.
But go ahead.
We've had the right conditions for spring breeding. We've had cool weather,
Cool.
cloudy, yeah, kind of working in our favor, so it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
Yeah. Another thing that's interesting, if some of you listeners remember my fall lambing last year, we had a lot of trouble with that Cache Valley.
Yeah,
Those ewes that had lambs that ended up being dead from Cache Valley or dying at birth from Cache Valley. Almost all of those are lambing right now.
okay,
They
yeah,
br- they bred right back, and so we're having a few lambs. We're not going to have a lot, but we probably have, it might be 20 or 30,
yeah,
something like that. 20 lambs maybe, and we're just lambing those on pasture, and it's raining today, but I got some money to get out there and tag
yeah,
someday when it's not raining.
yeah.
But there's something pretty neat about lambing on pasture.
It
It's
is.
just it's those ewes just go off by themselves, do their thing, and
Yeah,
they have a lot more space to get away from the other sheep. And I think you can really see the good moms really shine, I
yeah,
think, in a pasture setting like that.
yeah, yeah. I always say you have a lot less problems lambing on pasture, but your problems you do have are harder to fix. It's going to take you long if you need to catch a ewe and put her in a jug or whatever, or treat her. It's going to be harder to do out on pasture than if you just have them in the barn. But yeah,
Yeah,
I always enjoyed that. We stopped doing pasture lambing completely now, but I always enjoyed that when we did it. Um, on the cedars and peachy thick 600, I did a little bit of a unintentional experiment here this year. This will tell you how things go around here. Um, when I pulled the first set of cedars later that day, I'm like, wait, I was supposed to give them peachy 600 as well. And I have them all split out in my breeding groups. I had 10 different breeding groups or something. I'm like, I'm not gonna bring them back in and give them PG 600, and I don't know, they're probably even breeding some ewes already. I don't want to mess with that. Um, so I had in the past some people have questioned whether we need PG 600 or not. So I decided, well, I pulled half of my cedars. So I pulled half of the cedars that day, and I was going to pull the other half 2 days later. So I decided, well, this is as good of an experiment as you get. Half of them are going to get PG 600, and half of them are not going to get PG 600. And then I did talk with actually Dr. Andrew Weaver from North Carolina University, if I'm saying that right. I think that's where he's at.
but
Um, was here with a group of students, and I was asking him about it, and he was saying down there at the university they don't use PG 600. They only use cedars. And he said that the only or the main benefit with using PG 600 is going to get him to cycle in a tighter window. Like you'll be in that 24-hour window, which is really important if you're like AIing or something like that. Probably not as important with her natural breeding group. So thought on it was that it shouldn't really decrease my amount of ewes I get bred. It might just be spread out a day or two more, which isn't a big deal at all. I do think there's also some benefit to where you'll increase your lambing percentages, like the actual amount of lambs that are born per ewe with using PG 600. So it'll be interesting to see that experiment and um yeah, maybe we can cut out the PG 600. That'd be one less cost. So,
Be another 6, 7, $10 or what is it?
yeah, yeah, probably $6 or $7, something like that. So, unintentional experiment, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah,
But 8, 10 years ago when I think you and I both messed with cedars and we didn't do PG 600 back then, did we? I didn't anyway.
I did all along. Yeah, when I
Okay.
when
I
I
didn't.
when I started with cedars, I went to PG 600 right away, I think. Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, I've pretty much been. I think here and there, you run out of PG 600 and a couple ewes don't get it, but that's not enough to even really do a trial on it. So this
Yeah.
year, literally half of our flock got it, half of it doesn't, and they're split out among breeding groups. So yeah, we'll definitely get a good feel for um, what the results are there. So
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And you should know, do you know who was pulled in that first half and who was
yeah,
pulled in the last? Okay.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I kept track of who was pulled in the first half. So
Good.
or yeah, I yeah kept track of who was pulled when, so I can just go back and pull that lambing date after we lamb this fall, or even once we preg check here, should give us a little bit of an indicator on that. So,
Yep. Good deal.
but that's what's going on here.
Yeah. So I usually like to put any ram lambs that I'm going to sell for breeding out on pasture about sometime early to midsummer. You do too, don't you, at some point?
Yeah, yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're gonna get ours that were born this winter. We're gonna get them out in pasture, yeah, hopefully this week. So,
Yeah. I like to see them get out on pasture, like some people say, so they learn how to eat grass. I think
yeah,
it toughens them up a little bit, puts them out in the real world.
get some
I,
exercise.
yep, gets them out of the barn, out of that you have less problem with that barn cough, I think,
Yeah,
when they're outside.
yeah.
And I still have them on a universal feeder so I can supplement them some, keep them growing. I have a couple fall born ones I'd like to probably put some of them on an online sale sometime here this summer yet. A couple of them are already spoken for, but then we have some springborn ones. Got them outside. I'm trying to decide what to do with my ewe lambs I'm keeping back. Do you do you put your ewe lambs out in pasture
We
that
do.
first summer? Do you
Yeah.
keep them by themselves, or do you put them back with into the main group?
We keep them by themselves and we
Yeah,
supplement them with grain. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of the same deal as with the Rams. We want to harden them off a bit. Especially our ewe lambs that we're going to sell. We want to make sure they know what grass is. Because a lot of the people that will buy them will put them, right out on grass. So we'll put them out on grass and supplement them with grain. The other thing is that we don't do parasite testing on our flock, but that gives me a good chance to pull any ewe lambs out that just need deworming. So
just
they're
fall
they're
apart.
bigger, they're gonna fight it off better, but it seems every year out of the group that we're keeping, there's a couple that get shipped at the end of the summer because they just seem to have repeat parasite issues. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So you're gonna put some of yours, or do you usually run yours out with your flock?
I have done it multiple ways. If I put them out with the main flock, I feel like I have to really pay close attention to them,
Yeah.
especially coming into late summer if the forage isn't as good. or if you aren't careful, you can let them get run. They'll lose some
Yeah.
body condition, and then it's harder to get them to breed up, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, ewe lambs are a pain, especially for a smaller flock. They're kind of a pain to manage separately, but man, I feel like you almost have to do that. Like that's the future of your flock, and um, especially if you're lambing them at a year old like we are. That's asking a lot from that ewe lamb, and we need to feed and support those ewe lambs. So. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could just turn them back in with the main flock, but when I've done that, like you said, I've just always struggled with you get some that get under condition and then they won't breed up.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got your sale coming up. It's you're about the end of July, mid
It's
July. I
the
forget.
end of July. I don't want to say it wrong. I think it's July 19th. Is our summer sale. So it looks like we'll have a good our normal run of rams, white Dorper rams, Katahdin rams. We'll have a couple Texels on there this summer, but they'll be pretty limited. We had like 80% ewe lambs, which I don't completely mind because I'm growing that flock, but I don't have many rams to sell here this year. And then we'll have yeah, a good group of ewes, some Katahdins, some Dorpers, some crossbreds probably. And we're also it looks like we're gonna have a good group of consignment ewes. So we take some commercial group of consignment ewes that are sired by our rams. We've been doing that the last couple years here, and it looks like we'll have a good run of those this summer. So yeah, I'm excited for that. We just actually just last night sat down and started planning some of that out. It always kind of creeps up on you. Um, I would say too for people that are interested in our sale, we will have options for delivery out through the Midwest this summer. I'll be going out to the Katahdin Expo in Indiana, and we can make deliveries along the route or even further out. So if you're interested in that, get a hold of me and yeah, see what we could work out there. And it's 2 month off yet, but it'll be here before we know it. So yeah, for if you're interested in that, you can go to our website. It's glenbrookfarm.online, and we have our contact information on there. You can reach out to us through that, or you can call me at 717-419 1980. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me and see what we offer. We have a mailing list that we can put you on, and we'll send out catalogs and other information on the sale if you're interested.
Yeah, there's a lot going to be a lot of July. You got the EAPK sale on the
Mhm.
11th and 12th. Your sale on the 19th. Skip a week. You have the KHSI Expo on August 1 and 2,
Yeah.
or or 30 July 31st through the sale is on the August 2nd then.
And then since we are in Pennsylvania, we should also mention the PA Ram test sale. I think that's like the end of August this year. I forget the exact date, but yeah, a lot of sales that time of year. Um, which is also nice. It makes it easy to move sheep around.
Right.
Where with going to these different sales and things, you can get sheep all over the country. So that's pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Good deal.
What
Hey,
about Liam? What about lamb prices? You been selling any lambs so far this spring? We have that Eid holiday is next week, which by the time this podcast will go out, it'll be too late to market for that. But we should talk about it a little bit.
yeah, I have been hearing some discussion on the land market. I haven't sold anything on auction anytime recently.
Yeah.
We sold a few market lambs off the farm here, but the prices are pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I had a guy that buys rams from me that has, I don't know if he has 200 ewes or something, and he shipped some here in PA the other week and got with the average 105 pounds. These were like January, February born lambs, I believe,
Yeah.
and he got three. I don't know, it was over $3. I forget what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
305, three. No, it was more. It was more than 315.
Yeah.
I think it was $365 a head or something.
Which
That
is crazy for this time of year.
and for that weight of an animal
Right.
is for a you might get that for some good hard fed fall lambs. Some
Yeah, I've seen that in the winter time. Like, well, actually, Ramadan holiday this year, I sold some. Oh, it was in that same range. I think they were, 100 and some pounds, and we got 320 or whatever a pound for them. I forget exactly. So I've seen that in the winter time before, and especially with the Ramadan holiday moving up into winter time. But to see that at the end of May, I've never seen that before. But that's all because of that Eid holiday. You had the Ramadan holiday there in March, I believe that was. Of course, you have Easter thrown in there. There's just a whole bunch of holidays we had this winter, and then Eid comes right at the end of that and clean. And they want heavy lambs, and a lot of people probably marketed theirs in those other holidays, so it just drives the prices up. So be interesting to see what happens after the holiday now. I mean, it's definitely going to slow down. It's just a matter of how much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good time to be selling lambs, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't send any to New Holland. I had a guy that was buying them right off the farm here. He was giving me a good price and picking them up, and I know what I'm getting for them. So I was just doing that here, but yeah. I
Yeah,
knew the
it's good.
prices were good. I wasn't keeping real close track on it.
Yeah. On the do you have anything more you want to say about lamb market?
No, I think I
Okay.
just thought we should touch on that and remind people how high the land market is right now. Probably not
Yeah.
to expect that all the time.
Right. Right. On the border collie subject, what do you got going on with your border collies? You got any dogs you're working with right now?
I do. I actually just sold one in the last week or so. Well, I sold him on a trial basis. He can still bring them back if it doesn't work out, but I think it's working out pretty good for him. So then I still have Luna. I think we're gonna keep her. That I bought from your brother there.
Yeah.
She's I really like her breeding. Um, she's not my favorite dog to work with, but if we need to get stuff done, she's the dog I go for. She's just high energy and it's go go, and we haven't quite been able to work through that as much as I would have liked. But like I said, if we need to get stuff done, she's there. And
Yeah.
then I still have, I guess, I have one other puppy that I'm working with now, and two more that I'm kind of waiting on starting yet. So, but that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah. The reason I brought that subject up was so my gem dog is getting up there, eight, not nine maybe. And I
Yeah,
can tell she's starting to slow down a little bit, and I need to have a plan. I need to get another dog started. I have a pup here that from Jim and Maverick that is I worked with some last fall, some and every winter I didn't do anything with her. Sheep are inside and snow's too deep and
yeah,
all the other excuses.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, sheep are back out in pasture. I need to get her to a place where she's ready for the guy. I need to get her out of here. So she needs some work, but I guess I'm getting a pup here in a couple weeks. Um, that's gonna be the next right hand dog, I guess. Gonna
Okay.
get started on another one.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about that. Well, it's time to go back to the real world and do some farming, huh?
Yep. We do have some things we're working on with the podcast, getting some more producers and things on here with the busyness of spring. We've been maybe slacking a little bit and getting stuff lined up, but we have some leads we're working on here for people we want to have on. We some of our best leads come from callers calling in and saying, "Hey, you should check this guy out, see if you can have him come on." So we appreciate those leads, and we'll yeah, we'll have more producers and things like that on and coming up here.
You bet. We just got to work some of them a little more. Find a time that suits them and us, and busy
Yeah,
time of the year on top
yeah,
of it.
that's hard this time of year, but we're working on it.
Sounds good. Hey, we'll catch up with you next time. Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Profitable Sheep and Goat Production Call, brought to you by Lost Creek Wholesale, your universal feeder distributor. And remember, if you got a topic you'd like to hear us dig into here on this podcast, feel free to give us a call at 717-310-3641 or send me an email at leon@lostcreekwholesale.net. Thanks again, and we'll catch up with you next time.